China's President Xi Jinping will make his first official visit to North Korea this week, and it would be the first by a Chinese president in more than a decade. China's state-run news agency Xinhua reported about it just a short while ago. It quoted Hu Xiaoming, a spokesperson for the Communist Party's international department, as saying that Xi Jinping's visit on Thursday and Friday followed an invitation from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. North Korean state media reported in January this year that Xi Jinping accepted the invitation after a meeting with Kim in Beijing, but neither side confirmed a date for the visit. Xi Jinping is also expected to attend the G20 summit in Japan next week, but Beijing has yet to confirm whether the Chinese leader will meet U.S. President Donald Trump. We have our associate editor, Ramesh Ramachandran, joining us live on this broadcast for more on this big story that's breaking here on WION World is One. Ramesh, thank you so much for taking time out. It's an important visit considering the context because the way North Korea and U.S. relations have gone, China's intervention here could prove a big turning point.
Indeed, Krishna, it would not be an exaggeration to say that the road to peace on the Korean Peninsula passes through Beijing. Remember, Kim has traveled on 4 different occasions into China in the last year and more, and this would be the 5th meeting between the two leaders, Kim Jong-un of North Korea and Xi Jinping of China. And this time, it'll be Xi Jinping's turn to visit Pyongyang, and this would be the first visit since 2005, when Xi Jinping's predecessor, Hu Jintao, traveled to Pyongyang for a 3-day visit. So this is an important visit, a significant one, especially in light of the U.S.-North Korea peace talks, which have taken Trump and Kim Jong-un to Singapore first in June last year and Vietnam in February this year.
Right, but the way the Vietnam summit, the Hanoi summit ended, clearly things haven't gotten back on track since then. Trump did talk about a beautiful letter from Kim Jong-un that he received, and there is now the possibility of a third summit between Trump and Kim. But in the meanwhile, Xi Jinping is making some important moves over here.
Indeed, Krishna, let's remember that China is North Korea's biggest benefactor, the biggest trading partner, and for all practical purposes, Kim Jong-un wants to use China as a lever, as a leverage in its talks with Donald Trump and his allies in the West. It remains to be seen whether Kim Jong-un will play his cards correctly between now and the third possible summit between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump. But that said, this particular visit on Thursday and Friday comes just a week before the G20 summit in Japan and the Trump visit to South Korea on the 29th of this month. So this is an important date, especially given the fact that this happens just before the G20 summit and the U.S.-South Korea relations visit on the 29th. Remember, South Korea President Moon Jae-in has taken a leading role in facilitating the talks between North Korea and the United States. It remains to be seen where this all will end up going forward, Krishna.
Oh, absolutely. In that sense, you're seeing 2 different blocks essentially trying to befriend North Korea, trying to take the responsibility and the claim for bringing North Korea out of its hermit status. But in that sense, China now trying to make strides at an opportune moment.
Indeed. And Krishna, the problem for North Korea is the following. Now, Trump is making efforts to resume dialogue with North Korea. At the same time, Trump insists and maintains that Washington will continue its policy of applying maximum pressure on North Korea. At the same time, not removing sanctions on North Korea just yet. Now, North Korea wants the sanctions to be removed, its economy to grow, and to ease the pressure on its economy, but that is easier said than done.
Absolutely.
The problem from Washington's perspective, Krishna, very quickly, is that Trump has recently given an interview to ABC News where he says that he sees a very strong relationship with North Korea, and he describes Kim as very smart. At the same time, he says Kim understands me and has been responsive to his concerns. So it remains to be seen where this all leads up in the next few days and weeks ahead.
Right, and also at that stage, I also want to ask you about North Korea's traditional preference for China, its affinity towards China, so to speak, which seems to have come a full circle with Xi Jinping, getting closer to North Korea.
Indeed, and many observers are describing Xi Jinping's visit to North Korea as conducive for both sides to play against the U.S. North Korea, as I said, wants to use China as a leverage in its talks with the U.S. And Xi Jinping wants to convey to the world, especially the US, that the road to peace on the Korean Peninsula indeed will pass through Beijing. Remember, China is a signatory to the 1953 peace agreement, and any effort at a tripartite agreement will necessarily include China going forward. So this is not a bilateral dispute between the US and North Korea. There are many more players involved, including especially China.